There we go.
Hi guys, welcome to another Fandom Feels book club. This is episode 6. I can't believe we've been doing this for 6 months, actually, guys. It's been a lot of fun, so let's keep it rolling. Tonight we are talking about The Heir by Kiera Cass.
Starting.
Everyone with a physical copy, hold that up. Hi guys, welcome to another Fandom Feels book club. This is we've been doing this for 6 months, actually, guys. It's been
Who's that?
open on YouTube, so let's keep it rolling. Tonight we are talking about The Heir by Kiera Cass.
Starting.
What
Who is
does
that?
Welcome
I think
to
somebody has it open on YouTube, guys.
yeah.
There we go. Apparently that was me. I'm like, where is it at? That's what you get when you open up way too many windows.
We're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live. Things happen. Watch what happens next live. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're can't even do it now. All right. We're talking about The Heir, which is the latest book in the selection series by Kiera Cass. And it's going to be a fun night because we have some very different opinions, and I think we're going to have a bit of a rumble up in here. Just saying. So,
I'm
I only
ready.
have
No,
one
I'm just
hand.
kidding.
but let's
So
start.
I have a dog to attack, too.
Oh, attack dog right there.
There you go.
All right, so let's
Yeah,
start.
attack you with its barks.
Let's start with the premise, which, for the record, if you have not read the selection series, you can follow along with this. However, there will be minor spoils for the selection series. So if you don't mind a few minor spoilers, you're good.
I
I
mean,
mean,
Minor.
the whole book is a major spoiler
okay,
to the selection trilogy.
it reflects the end game. So if you don't want to know how the selection series ends, we're screwed. But
You might want to leave now, basically.
if you're okay with knowing the end but not getting into many of the other details, you're good.
Okay, I'll take that.
All right. And as you can tell, we're talking about royalty because Ellie and I both have tiaras today. They're lovely.
My
For the-
tiara broke.
just for the record, the tiara was mine first, and then Ellie stole it.
Excuse me.
You had a lamer tiara, and then you found my tiara, and you took it from me.
It's because this one was better, but it was mine as much as it was yours.
Please.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we're done. We're done.
The brawl's already starting.
Right. So this book is about America's daughter. Her name is Eadlyn. And she is learning to run the country in a way from Maxon. She's been born and raised knowing that she was going to be in charge someday because she is the eldest daughter. And in the new Ilia, we do not marry off our children to foreigners because it makes for better foreign relations. So she knows that she'll be queen someday, and she spent her whole life kind of prepping for that. She's not really one for relationships. Her social skills are certainly not the best, but you know, she cares about the country. And so she's kind of floored when there's issues within the nation, and Maxon suggests that she has her own selection because the selection as a concept had been thrown out the window. It was not going to happen, and then they decided that would be the best thing for her. So that did not go over well, but what we got out of it is a pretty interesting story. All right, so let's get just some overall vibes.
I mean, I liked the book. I mean, I love this entire series. It's kind of my feel-good series, even though like there are some feels in it. It's the one I think of when I'm like, I want a light, happy read, and I just want to feel good today. I'm going to think about the selection series.
I'm just
So
gonna
I love this.
it.
So I love the series. I did enjoy this book. It was not my favorite of the series, but I did definitely enjoy it. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say right now. We'll come back to that later.
I liked it. I liked it. I mean, I wasn't in a hurry to read it though when it first came out, but I enjoyed the selection series obviously, and I was interested in seeing, what the next generation was going to be like. Um, Not so much keen on the main character, but I'm sure that that's supposed to be how it is, and you're supposed to watch the development of the character as well as the supporting characters. And it was nice to see Maxon in America again, and Aspen as well, and Lucy, and Miss Marley.
Oh, I have a story to tell you in a little bit, but go on.
Okay.
Um,
Are you all set now? Was that it? Did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
no, that's fine.
All right. So
No, actually, I cut her off. Sorry.
Logistics. It's not a big deal. Anyway, so let's start with, before we get into the real Duke It Out battle.
Wait, what about you?
Oh, what did I think of it?
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite in the series, which I know
is
an unpopular opinion, which is why we're going to Duke It Out later. I recognize character flaws. However, I do think it was a lot more interesting than around.
Sorry.
So, with that said, let's just say, because I looked it up while trying to figure out how to pronounce the name, and with my luck, I'm still saying it wrong. But Eadlyn, I believe that's how it's pronounced.
I think so.
Translates, or the meaning behind the name is a wealthy friend. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh man, that can't be coincidental.
No. Nothing's a coincidence. Oh,
I feel like that's a bigger setup. What do you guys think?
but a setup to what?
Like,
I mean, obviously she's wealthy.
Mhm.
I
I think it's, referring to her as someone who has the means to actually change the nation in a positive way, should she be willing to, sort of deal.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I mean, the book's not going to end with everybody disliking her. The next book's not going to end with everybody disliking her the way they have in much of this one. That's like, no, that would be a terrible ending. So by the end of the next book, I mean, the world will most likely see her as a friend one way or the other. So I think so.
Okay, then let's get to, and this is the big point of debate for us, but I'm going right to it because it may take a while, and that way we can cut off the lesser stuff should we need to. Eadlyn or America? Who was worse and why?
Who was worse?
Who was worse? Ellie's flashing gang signs at me now.
It's an E.
I know it is. I know.
Oh my god.
Explain yourself, lady.
Okay, so I know, the divide is pretty much what I've seen is the divide is how much you liked the first 3 books. Like, the people that were really annoyed with America tend to prefer Eadlyn because, and sorry, I'm kind of making your argument for you, and then I'm going to kind of crash it down a little bit, kind of prefer Eadlyn because, and I do agree that we see some development with her throughout the book. Like, you do see her starting to change from the wealthy little snob that knows nothing about anything into somebody that actually cares about people and wants to actually do something good. With that said, I was not one of those people that ever really had a huge problem with America. My biggest problem with America was basically the fact that she was in the middle of a love triangle and just being like, I need more time, I need more time, I need more time. That annoyed me. That was the only thing about America that really annoyed me, though. I liked her as a character. I thought that she always had people's best interests at heart, and she really tried to do the right thing. And I really liked America, and I can't say the same about Eadlyn, though I do think that by the end of the next book, she will be someone I like. Whew, I'm done.
Natasha, would you like a turn?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, as far as the comparison between America and Eadlyn, it's going to be hard because you can see parts of America in Eadlyn, but you can also see parts of Maxon in Eadlyn, and it's kind of disappointing in a way because you think that she would know better in certain circumstances. Unfortunately, because she is kind of sheltered, being that she is a princess, you know, she finds herself feeling entitled to certain things that it was just really annoying, and certain things that she didn't realize that she was saying wrong. You know, the ignorance of it was kind of annoying as well, because you think, you know, that she is learning how to run a country, that she would kind of know what to say and how to say it. I don't know if I can blame her fully for that, or if it's just her upbringing, you know, and the way that she was raised by her parents. No, I'm serious though.
You don't blame a Maxon in America for anything.
America's fault.
No, I'm just saying though that it seems like she thinks she knows what she's doing. She thinks she knows her country,
My ear.
and obviously she doesn't. But she thinks she does, and she thinks she doesn't need anybody else. And there's so many flaws to her thought process, and the fact that she's just this, you know, just the little things that she says to people, like what she says to Nina, you know, like, oh, I didn't realize that, you know, your boyfriend was so this and you're down here, you know, and she's like, she really didn't understand the reason of the casting, but at the same time she's using that as reasonings for why people are the way they are, or, you know, the differences between them, and it's like, I don't know, I'm not really sure how to explain it as well, but just those little things that she said, and then the things that she did, especially the first elimination was just, I'm just like,
all right,
I wanted to smack her a little bit. Let's just say that.
Coming in, because I think you cannot judge the character by anything that happens in the very beginning of the book, because the whole...
Oh, I don't know about that, because, well, let me just say this, a lot of, I mean, like, she already said that she was annoyed by the people that she, you know, like, by Kyle and Josie and stuff, and it's like I said, you know, this is her, but at the end, even at the end of the book, the way that she was trying to get to her brother, convince her brother of something, you know, it was like, why? I thought you said you didn't need anybody.
Snap.
You know?
What are you saying, Ellie? Snap? You're snapping?
Snapping. Like, I think you should break up with her because she's just like too awesome And I'm kind of jealous, and I think you love her more than me, so you should break up with her.
Well, she's
'Cause-
also at that point, I think, trying to convince him that he should be like the one actually running the country. But because I know she does say something along those lines to him.
Oh yeah,
we'll
she's
come
always
back
said it.
to
I mean,
that
even at the
later.
beginning of the movie, she said like, "Oh, 7 minutes,
Movies?
7 minutes," you know, and it's like, well, yeah, but now you're the one, and yet she feels like she can take care of it, but then she still wants to relinquish it to somebody.
Which is interesting, because
All right,
there's like, sorry, we'll get back to that later.
just quit your hate fest for a second and speak.
I was actually going to go off topic of the hate, but
Oh, okay.
it makes more sense in a later conversation anyway, so go on.
All right.
No,
Well,
I don't. I shouldn't say I don't hate her. I, I mean, there were times in the selection series I was annoyed by America and what she was
Okay,
doing.
to be
You
fair,
know?
she had to make a choice between the boy that she has loved for years and a literal Prince Charming.
I know. I mean, we're not talking about, but I'm just saying that I was annoyed by America as
Opposition.
well. Like I was annoyed by Eadlyn, but for me, I just felt like for me, the things that Eadlyn did was more annoying to me, I think.
I
And Kate, how about you? I know that you.
so I'm gonna get into it. I find Eadlyn to be a lot more misguided than she is annoying, in the sense that she was raised a certain way with a lot of privilege. She was raised in that sense of, I don't need anybody to help me with anything because I'm going to run this. And they make that clear very early on that she's been raised very independently. She's not interested in a relationship when her parents tell her, we're basically going to force you to get married. Hope you don't mind. And we're hoping this will keep our country from a civil war, which it might not, in which case
Well,
you're just
we're hoping it will distract the country from a civil war.
So, and if that doesn't work, then we're all just screwed. So, honestly, if I were put in that situation, I'd be a bit of a bitch.
Which
Like,
she was.
So
But at the same time, she is the princess. And so she has a certain attitude
yeah,
that she didn't
but I
take.
feel like that's the
Whoa.
Disney princess rule, which
my
is
my issue.
nope. I'm getting it out.
Whoa. Okay.
The Disney princess rule, which is essentially that you are a princess, and even if you don't know that you're a princess, you still act like a princess because princesses are kind and loving, and they do everything right, and they do everything that people expect them to do. And isn't that just so wonderful? And so I feel like she's kind of the anti-royalty, probably more realistic princess. If you were raised to believe that you were going to be in charge and that you had this issue to deal with and that issue to deal with, you were responsible for making sure that the country didn't go bankrupt. And yes, diplomatic relations play a part, but how big of a part in the overall grand scheme of things, who knows? Because it still doesn't seem like Ilya has a lot of well, they have allies, but they're still not as in tune with the world in a lot of ways. And if you live in a home that you haven't been allowed outside of, in which everyone waits on you hand and foot, you don't understand things. And that's the thing. She doesn't understand on a base level. And in Eadlyn's case, I think that she starts off really bad, but she is progressing. And she does make mistakes along the way. She's not a perfect character. She certainly doesn't understand everything right away, and if she did, that would be silly, because it would be one of those, like, oh, come to the light moments, where it's just like, and now I get it, and now I'll be perfect. And she doesn't do that. So I appreciate that about her, whereas I thought America just got worse and worse and worse as she went. Like, she was well-intentioned, but she was just stupid. and she made stupid, really erratic decisions. And besides who to marry, that one she took her sweet ass time with.
I don't know. I mean, like, I totally agree with you in that, but like I said, for me, I just felt like Eadlyn was worse. But I think that was supposed to be the case. That Eadlyn's, her attitude and her character throughout the whole book was supposed to be in a way that we don't really like her. I mean, at least the majority doesn't really like her, doesn't think of her as anything special. And so for me, I kind of followed that, and I said, you know what, the attitude is wrong, the way that she, her thought process of it, everything is wrong, and just the way that she kind of treats the people that she's, even known for a while, is just, like wrong. And I mean, maybe it's misguided, but most of, like, some of these people she's known for a long time.
Kyle.
And and she she still has that sense of entitlement to her, and it's like, she has been sheltered, and being on that parade and having that incident where this fruit was thrown at her, or things were thrown at her, it was like this wake-up call. But it was like this, like, I don't know why people hate me. I'm all like, well, do you know what's going on in your country? I'm like, she's the one who's working with her dad and trying to fix things, and I'm like, where is it what is it that she's not seeing? I mean, even her brother had to explain that to her, and I'm like, how come he was able to see it and she wasn't? They're twins,
right.
you know what I mean?
And that's the other thing. Like, the rest of her family knows why people hate her. So, like, it's not just like I lived this sheltered life, because, like, Aaron was just as sheltered as her, but he does not have a fifth of the issues that she has with.
Well, maybe it's because she is the one who's getting to be the queen, but I think
he had a little bit more freedom. That's true.
Yeah, I think that this whole idea in her head about 3 more months, and I know it's in the beginning of the book, so yeah, she is changing. You can see it, but I mean, I'm like, I still don't like her. That doesn't mean that I won't like her later on. Okay.
The particular scene you were talking about, where there was essentially the riot, and I think it wasn't so much that she was surprised that people hated, the whole government institution as it stood. She was surprised that they hated her personally,
right?
Because this is really her first interaction in the real world, and you kind of assume that people don't associate the concept of government with the actual person themselves, and I think that was the wake-up call moment for her, more than it was, oh, why do people hate the government? It's more, why do they want to hurt me on a personal level? All right. But
because
let's
seen her, I guess. They've seen what she's done, but we'll move on.
All right. So I already kind of answered this, but just to get in our shoes a bit, how would you react in Eadlyn's situation, where it's just like, hey, we've been trading you off to be queen, and now you got to get married?
Oh, I'd be furious. Don't tell me what to do. But I'm also not in a place where a choice like that would make a difference in the country. Like, nobody cares who I marry. I mean, I care. The people that love me care, but, like...
We're in that situation where somebody's like, we think the country could be saved in so many ways if you just married a guy and chose out of 35, and we're going to put it on live television. Or not live television, but television.
I mean, I would still not... I would probably react internally similarly to her. But she seems to take it out on the guys a little bit more than I think I would.
Yeah, I'd be mad. I'd be mad too, but But I mean, the thing is that I liked that she made a compromise, though. She said, if
Yes.
in 3 months I don't fall in love, then we don't do this. And I'm like, if they said that, then, if they agreed to that, then it's like, well, then why not try? You know what I mean? You have these people. And, well, maybe it's because I love boys. That, I feel like, okay, I've read, obviously, too many YA books. But,
I mean, it's a book. Clearly, you're gonna fall in love. Like, come on.
So I'm like, I like the idea. I'm a romantic, so what am I gonna say? Like, oh no, I don't want to do this. I'm like, essentially, we're talking about being the Bachelorette, and I know that's really bad because I actually do not like that idea of finding the one that you love in the span of 3 months. I think it's ridiculous, but at the same time, if you're part of the monarchy and this is their ultimatum for you to help out in a way, then I guess you could try it. But yeah, like I agree with Ellie. I would not take it out on the guys, and that was kind of messed up. Obviously, some of them deserved it, or a couple of them did.
Oh yeah.
But like I said in the beginning, I was like, why would you be all like aloof and flick your hand as if they're nothing, So
I think at that point too, she's rebelling against the idea because she's saying that she at that point she has absolutely no intention of even considering a relationship with anyone. So anyone who didn't impress her in Relief, she's just whatever. But really, she's going whatever to the whole idea of it, not just the guys that she kicks out that day. And I think she's trying to make that clear.
No, it was like to a specific
guy. Do you think that Maxon liked the idea of having that though too? Because I thought I remember Maxon not even liking that idea of being part of the selection, and yet he did it with much more grace.
I mean, with Maxon it was different though, because that was always the way he was going to find his bride.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he grew up knowing when he reached a certain age, he would have a selection and choose his bride and marry her, and that was it.
Whereas, and he also had a pretty strict, possibly abusive father. Actually abusive.
Definitely abusive father, yes.
He was going to play along, or the world was going to burn down. So, that's an element to consider, too. All right, so let's talk about, on a brighter note yet again, the selection boys. What did you think? Who did you like?
Kyle!
I'm Kyle all the way.
Team Kyle.
Yes. Kyle.
100%.
Like, I like that they're starting it off as if, oh, well, we know each other, so we can work together, right? I need that idea to, backfire spectacularly so that they fall in love.
Obviously. They're like, oh, so we're going to have this fake kiss, and the cameras are going to see it, and it's going to really help me, and I'll really appreciate it, and then I'll, help you by, getting you out. And then they kiss, and she's like, oh, I actually really like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's,
I think Kyle is definitely my choice. However, I do like other characters on just a character arc interesting level. I really love Hale. I just want to squeeze him.
Hale, really?
Hale. Why? Because he seems like he's kind of nerderific in the best way possible. So, I really like him. I think I kind of love to hate Ian, who is, of course, the one who
I love Ian.
Feel that you can just marry me and then we never have to deal with each other so long as I get to be the freaking king.
I don't love Ian.
Consort.
I love that Ian's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying I like him as a person. He's a scumbag person. But he brings an interesting element.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm Team Kyle.
I liked Baden he ruined everything.
Yeah, but you know what? As much as he ruined it for himself, he was speaking pretty much truth
Oh,
about
totally.
Eadlyn.
Totally.
And the fact is that, you know, and the fact that it affected her knows that there might be some truth to that.
And
Um,
going back to the conversations, that's one of the things that really pisses me off about her. She's oh, oh my God, what? He's trying to actually get to know me? No, shut down, stop, go away. I can't deal with you. Goodbye, I'm gone.
well, she did that with Hale, actually.
She did that
Wasn't
with
it Hale?
Hale.
He
I
didn't
think
do
she did
that
that
with
with
Jaden.
Jaden. Really?
He had asked her. He had to like try to initiate a date, and at the time she wasn't available, and he like flipped his lid.
Oh.
Yeah.
She did that
But
with
at least
Hale.
he didn't,
She did that at one point with
he didn't react
Kyle.
like Jack.
Girl.
What was that?
Yeah, there's.
As far as guys go, I unfortunately, it's so sad that they have this language barrier. She has a language barrier with Henry
Oh, I
because
love
he cooks, dude. Really? I'm all like, yummy food. Obviously, I love food. So I'm like, yes, but yeah. There's actually several of them that are really likable characters, and so far she's kept a few of them. Fox, I think, is actually kind of cool. Um,
Fox opened her eyes to some serious stuff too, which was very important.
Fox is cool. Is Hale the one that's the tailor?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I do like Hale. I do like Hale. I like Kyle, of course. And I knew that was coming. I knew that he was going to be in the, you know, obviously you can see that in the beginning, you know, with their attitudes toward each other. But I do like Kyle, and I like that he's an architect. I even like Eric, who is not part of the selection.
All right. So we'll get into this. And I'm about to.
What I want to know is why Leland is still there. And we haven't met him. I want to meet the other ones because I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's like 19 of them, and we've only met Hale and Fox and Ian. But I'm like, what about Leland?
Yeah,
I want to know him. I want to see him cry some more.
I was talking to one of my friends, and she's like, I don't understand how there's only one more book. How is she going to narrow it down? There's still like 19 guys there. And I'm like, she can get it down to the elite like that. Think about the important characters. In fact, there are only 5. I don't even know who would make the 6th person.
I don't know.
Unless Eric counts, but he doesn't. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to be good.
So anyway, let's move on.
I think Kate might be frozen.
Oh no! Kate, are you frozen? No, she's not frozen.
Yes, she is.
Oh wait, Kate is frozen. Oh, poor Kate. Okay. So anyway, what did you think about the
Well, hang on, this is the part where Kate really needed to be here.
I was like, I don't want to ask her questions because I don't want her to miss out on it, so I was going to try and ask something else. What would you do, I guess, as far as like a date goes? What would you want to do if you were to instigate the date? And who would it be with? Obviously, who would it? Do you have a favorite?
Kyle, obviously.
So what would your date with Kyle be like?
Okay, so like, I love the development of her relationship with Kyle. Like, I just love the fact that it started out as like a deal, similar, to America and Maxon. Like, so if you just keep me here, I can kind of be your spy with the other girls, and we're not really gonna get married. Don't worry about that. But
I totally forgot that they had that deal.
Right? So then this one, it's like, so obviously you don't actually want to be in the selection, so we're not going to be a part of this. But, if you help me by making it look like I'm actually trying here, I can help you by getting you out. Like, hi. Awesome. It's also, hi, the two of them already knew each other before the selection. Guess who met before the selection in the selection? Oops. Yeah, so,
And Kate's back.
and
So
she never actually wanted to be part of it. I'm giving some similarities between Kyle and Eadlyn and America and Maxon.
Oh. Is this what you had talked about earlier that you were brewing up?
What?
Is that what you were
No, actually. But I was just saying, number one, they met before the selection. That was actually number 3. Number 1, they met before the selection officially started. Number 2, which was actually my number 1, they had this deal of like, we're not actually going to be together, but if you help me, I can help you. And what was my number 3? What was my number 2? Now my number 3?
I can't even remember.
Never actually wanted to be a part of it.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So as much as I think we're all about Kyle here, like that's where we're at, and I know I personally will be very disappointed if that is.
I will go down with that ship.
However, I do want to talk briefly about Eric. Because
I mean, what?
we just posted a meme that Ellie made, which is perfect. And it's but then there's
doesn't even go here.
Yeah, he doesn't even go here.
The
Doesn't
meme
even go.
that he doesn't even go here. He's not even part of the competition. He's Henry's translator, and he's a perfectly nice guy. I've got no problem. But this is bullshit and needs to go away.
To be fair, like, yeah, I love Eric. I do. As a character, I love him. However, the Team Kyle fanatic in me wanted to strangle him every time he showed up in Eadlyn's life.
Yeah.
I think Eric's gay.
No.
No, I'm serious. I think he has a thing for Henry. That's why he was convinced.
That would be wonderful, but no.
That's why he was trying to convince, Eadlyn, if it was a good thing for her to keep him on because of the language barrier thing.
That would be amazing. I don't think so.
She was she decided to keep him, and at one point I think she was hugging him or something, and he saw that, and he had like this kind of like sad face.
He was dancing with him. He was dancing with Henry, and they had like a cute moment. And then she saw Eric looking sad.
Exactly.
That would be brilliant.
I mean, look. I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm just saying that I don't know.
A killer plot twist.
But then that doesn't, because
seriously, because we're supposed to think that he's falling for her.
Well, you can do that. You can still think that.
I know, but that would be amazing. The Team Kyle person in me just like, I have hope now.
I'm not saying that Henry would reciprocate. I'm just saying that.
Oh, I have no problem with that because I love Henry, but he's not going to win this competition.
But however, I'm trying to keep my mind open I just don't want to be like all in for Kyle and then all of a sudden something happens. So I'm trying to keep my mind open because like y'all said, there are some really agreeable fellows in the selection.
Yes. And I'm okay with all of them being her dear friends. Whatever that jazz is that Maxon uses, where he's like, and America too, being like, we're still very good friends, quite a few of them. I'm cool with her being like that with those guys, but that's it. Like, I don't know. There's something about Kyle and the fact that he's essentially like a a hipster in a dystopian royalty.
He's a hipster.
He's kind of a hipster, but it's.
I'm like, I want to be free of this castle. Let me travel the world and build stuff.
Yeah, and he's like super chill with his shaggy hair, and he's never dressed all that nicely. And I'm like, yeah, bit of a hipster, but it's okay. I dig it.
Yeah. No, the thing that most impressed me about him was the idea of trying to help out in the country and helping build small homes and stuff.
Yeah.
For those who, because like he said, he sees the unrest also, so it was cool.
And he has an actual idea of how he can start to fix it.
But he wouldn't be able to do that if he were traveling now, would he?
But he would if he had some sort of power in the country.
Maybe.
Okay.
Anyways.
So speaking of other people who kind of sort of have power, let's really quickly talk about Caden and Austin, because I think they are just coolest little brothers ever.
Little brothers!
Austin is essentially a 10-year-old bookie. Incredible.
He is, boy.
I love the scene when they're like all right when Jack gets kicked out, and all of the kids are like cuddling in bed together.
That was awesome.
That was amazing. That and the baseball scene were my two favorite moments by far.
The baseball scene was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a better baseball scene than the one in Twilight, I gotta say.
I love when America is like opening the window, and Eadlyn's like, "Oh, I'm about to get yelled at," and she's like, "Yeah, girl!"
I know, right?
Oh man,
that was amazing.
Told you, better than Twilight.
I just have to briefly touch on that. I mean, not that Aaron wasn't cool, but Aaron was kind of just like.
I loved Aaron until.
He was kind of there so he was there to just be like, hey, this is what Eadlyn is not like. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Whereas the other two got to have a little more distinctiveness in their personality.
I mean, I loved Aaron. The note he left her was a little harsh.
Yeah.
Like, it was things that needed to be said, but he could have said it in a nicer way.
No, but he's chicken, so he went and wrote a note instead. Because he couldn't tell that to his own sister, even though he was available all the time.
And some of the words in there were very harsh. Like, the problem the country have is with you.
I know. At the same time, even though it's harsh, it's kind of like it seems like the only way that she's hearing it is when it's harsh.
That's true.
You know? I'm all like, I think she could have, if she asked him, what he thought about the way she was doing things, maybe he would have said it, and maybe he did, and she wasn't listening, and being that he is not the next, not the heir, he's not going to say much else. So I think that as much as he loved her, as much as he wanted to tell her, he either couldn't or he did try in other ways, in softer ways, and it just wasn't coming out. And then now at that point, she was like manipulating him into breaking up with Camille, and he was like, "It's not gonna happen," And I mean, yeah, what he said was harsh, but at the same time, I think that was her wake-up call. And
he also gave his mother a heart attack.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem because he's gonna come back in guilt and everything, and she's gonna not forgive him.
Well, he has
I
to
know
come
that
back
she's
at
probably
the
not gonna.
beginning of the next book. Like, he can't be gone for very long, and his mother,
No. I
like,
mean,
dying.
obviously he's gonna come back. They're gonna come back, and Camille's gonna be like, "I'm so sorry, even though I said I wasn't gonna steal the show from you, and I did. Um, you know, I'm sorry, but we're here for you and your mom and stuff." And that was not what I expected. I did not see that coming at all. If anything, I thought it was gonna happen to Maxon, not America.
America.
And as far as Kaden and Austin goes, those two boys, I swear, I loved it. And see, here's the thing. This is the only time that she listened to Kaden, too, is when he was like, yeah, and 10-year-olds are going to be memorizing you in history, and that's it. You're not going to be remembered after that. And she was like, whoa, you know? He was pretty straightforward with her. It's like maybe Kaden needed to talk to her, not Austin and not Aaron.
I'll get back to Kaden later.
I like
Kaden
like
coming later.
You can talk about Kaden now.
What? But they relate. What I have to say about Kaden relate more to our next conversation.
All right. So let's just dig right into this, because this is kind of like our wrap up portion, which is our predictions for the next book, the final book in the series, unless we decide we're going to add some more on at a later time. But
all right,
as far as we can now, the final one.
Okay, let me bridge with Kaden. Okay, so I know Kaden and I disagree with this as well, with what will come of the next book. So I personally think that the monarchy will end in the next book, and I will explain why. Okay, so first, I thought that Kaden might actually end up becoming king. Like, Eadlyn would kind of take over a little bit more temporarily until Kaden was old enough, because there's all of that talk about Kaden studying just as much as Eadlyn does, just because he's curious about it. And there's, they're having a conversation at one point, and I think it's Maxon says, well, Kaden, what would you do if you were king? And he's like, well, I would talk to the people, because blah, 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 blah. And they're just like, oh, wow, like, that's a really good answer. So Kaden seems like he'd be a really good ruler, unlike much of Eadlyn's responses to things. So at first I was like, oh, Kaden's going to take over. But then I realized there's this kind of girl power thing going on in this book that would take away from. So, and I don't like the idea of it taking away from the girl power. So, my thought, in addition to that, neither Kyle or Eric, the two guys that she is most likely to end up with, seem like they are super interested in being in the palace. And as much as I love Kyle, I would actually be kind of pissed off if he stuck around in the palace for Eadlyn, because he clearly doesn't want to, and he wants to get out and do something else. But at the same time, I'm not done yet.
I was just going to say, maybe he didn't want to because he didn't have anybody to connect with.
But it was more than that. Like, he wanted to see the world. He does not want to be stuck in that palace.
It's not like you can't, though.
I know, but no, I don't want him to feel stuck there. However, at the same time, by the end of the book, everybody does have to love Eadlyn. Like, she does need to kind of fix the country in a way. So I think that will happen, and she will become the leader that people want, but at the same time, she's going to start to see on her own that perhaps the monarchy isn't what's best for the country, so she might take it down herself rather than a civil war doing it.
All right, am I allowed to speak? Are we good?
Yes.
All right. I know what it's like when you get going. I didn't want to cut you off. My perspective is, I think if anything, we're looking at like a limited monarchy situation where there's maybe a parliament and the advisors are more than just advisors, they actually have a say in things. I don't think they're just going to tear down the monarchy because that's a really drastic step. And I think that people will eventually realize that the problem within the country is not just the monarchy, it's within themselves. So if we turn it into like a more representative government but don't completely abolish the whole idea, then we're actually achieving something. It could be kind of more of a, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, because it's it's more of like a statusy placeholder position than it would be like an actual making laws ruling the country type of position. And it's more just a traditional historical whatever. But like I don't see it flipping into a democracy very quickly. It could happen, but I think there would need to be steps over time, not just like, well, 3 weeks ago we were a monarchy, and now we're not. Yeah, we have a president. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, no, I think it would happen similarly to, like, I think it would end similarly to the way Maxon planned to end the caste system, with, like, the steps, obviously. Yeah, they can't just do, like, no more monarchy, bye. See you next year.
At the same time, I think that even when even if they decide not to have a monarchy rule, Eadlyn still has to be in a position of power during that transition, because like you said, it's going to be a while. It's going to take years.
Right.
When you consider like how the presidency is here, it's like usually takes about 8 years for things to actually start changing. So in the same sense, it can take decades for that to happen. So
Yeah.
in the meantime, like for it to change overnight, no, it's not. It's obviously not, because that would just be anarchy then, and that's totally different than than either of those things. And yeah, the people are very misguided into thinking that it's all the monarchy's fault, and they need to just like own up to their own situations and take charge. And 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 that that just goes for any political system really. But yeah, as far as like, will the monarchy last for in Ilya, it will be probably a while that they'll have it. But yeah, there's going to be changes, and I'd have to agree with Kate in that there's going to be like this system, this parliament type of thing, where they'll have to work together with the queen, at that point, to kind of figure out how they want to, like, I guess, share that position of power. So yeah, that's that.
Okay. All right. So, any thoughts on that before we move on? What do we want to say about?
Can I tell my funny story?
Yes.
We have 1 minute.
Okay.
You have 1 minute.
So I went to Kiera Cass did a tour when the book came out. And I went to her second stop. And I had already read the whole book by then, and so had several other people. It was like the day after the book came out. And so she was taking questions, and she specifically said, don't ask any spoiler questions because the book literally came out yesterday, so we can't assume that everybody has read it. She said anything in the first 3 is good to go, but this one, no. So this girl who had not raised her hand, who had not read the book yet, raises her hand, and she's like, so, I haven't read the book yet. I'm just wondering if Aspen and Lucy have any kids. The reaction of the people, you could tell exactly who had read the book and who hadn't, because everybody that had read the book was like, oh! And then Kiera Cass just kind of looks and is like, guys, calm down. And she looks at the girl and she's like, read the book. That was one. Number two, Kiera was saying something. Another person asked if Maxon and Aspen have become friends. And yeah, exactly. Kiera is just like, oh, I think the answer to that question is pretty clear in the last chapter. And again, everybody that had read it all had this like, oh my god reaction. And everybody else was like, what happens in the last chapter? Oh my god, wait, does one of them die? Like what? Oh my god. Yeah, it was just funny. It was funny. I enjoyed being in the know in those situations. That was a funny story.
So Camila, one of our watchers or whatever, actually tweeted out that that Kiera had once said all the political stuff would be in book 5. Lots of changes, so we'll get to see, I guess, some of that stuff.
Oh yeah, she's gonna wrap it up.
She has to.
Oh yeah, it's a duology, huh?
Yes.
Okay, well
then I consider it a duology. It's like.
Well, yeah, I mean, for
consider the whole thing a series.
I can't see it that way.
A sequel duology.
Exactly. I'm like, it's the same role, but the main characters are different, so it's like I don't consider that. Anyway, yay!
All right. Sorry we didn't have any games for you tonight. We had a lot to talk about, so we decided to skip out on the game. But we hope.
So, what's the name for them? So you guys think Kyle and Eadlyn, right? Was it Eadlyn? Eadlyn?
Eadlyn.
Don't love it.
Need a better one.
Headlyn? 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 Eadlyn is just a hard name to match with.
I know.
To smush with.
That's what I'm going with. Eel.
What? Eel? Eel! That's awesome. I like eel.
I don't think anything really goes.
I like eel.
Eel?
Yes.
Oh. I don't know. That sounds weird.
I'm telling you.
No.
Eel.
No.
Eel.
No.
I'm going with eel. Go eel. All right. I guess we're done, right?
We are done. All right. Thank you for joining us.
So what?
Can
we make the announcement for next month?
Yes, I was just doing that.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Join us next month. We do this the third Monday in every month. So the next one will be on, as soon as my calendar decides to flip, August 17th. And we are going to be talking about Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver, which is this great mystery, thrillery type of book that really psychs you out, and we think you're all going to love it.
Wonderful.
So be prepared, August 17th, and we'll be talking it up. So see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.